All right, hey guys, we have Zombie Boy over here, and I want to talk more about faces. So this is gonna be sort of like a part two of the faces, and I sort of like congested everything into the first video that I had the arms and different things. So I probably will just sort of group everything and just kind of do some other faces for you guys, and maybe show like how I go about changing the faces in different areas. So I do really like the colors that turned out on the first one, even though he doesn't look like very very alive, but I do like how he turned out. And all right, so he's very frontal. So I guess I could do my best to show some side views. And one thing that I've learned for side views is to have the eye very triangular, and even like a lot of the three quarters, it gets very triangular. And for a while, I was really bad at side views, which I probably still am, but I've been doing them a little bit more often. And I mostly actually do three quarters, which is kind of messed up, but on a lot of characters that I'll do, I often do three quarters. And I'll show that too. But we'll try a side view since I'm not great at them. All right, and then I'll just kind of like work my way around. And then after I do these, I'll kind of show how I go about doing female faces as well. And then I like doing the forehead a little back. It can look kind of weird doing it straight. And then basically the same lips. Man, I'm drawing pretty big on here. And then lips. Into underneath. And then we got the chin. And then kind of working up into this very angle. And then basically from here, once I have about this, then I'll do the ears, which are, I can angle some of these other things. And a lot of things will angle into the ear. So doing the ear. And I find that the ear is always a little bit further back than I think. We'll give him an earring. And maybe give him some hair back here. And I guess hair is also part of the face, so I can talk a little bit about that. But yeah, for hair, I usually like to find basically where it's flowing from. So, like a lot of times, the hair, people will part it down the center. You could part it off a little to the side, a little off center, or you could have a swoosh back. So whatever direction basically it's going, then I'll kind of just work my way through it with the ink. And now that we got the ear, if you want to make it a lot easier too, you could kind of find like what areas you like to set up first. So like for me, I'm setting up a bit of the hair to kind of figure out where I want these other parts and kind of shape out the face through that, doing that. So then I go here, and I'll often do the sideburns before I go and do the jaw. I could kind of figure out. And from here, this kind of determines a lot of what the face is gonna look like. Especially from a side profile. I think the jaw is like a big thing for sort of like the character in your face. So you could do like a lot narrow, like a bigger forehead like this character. Or you could do this character is a little bit more balanced, but a little bit more angular too. And then from here, so I'm kind of working the hair down and getting like a good shape that I want for his head. Don't know how that's looking back there. I can't really see. And then a little bit behind the ear, then I'll start doing the hair back here. And then the neck, and like how everything goes together, I will sort of like flow off of the hair to figure out where I want the neck to go. And I like to use a lot of clothes to also help figure out where certain things are. So I could use a shirt or a necklace or basically anything to kind of figure out or strengthen the angle a bit. So we'll make this one just simple. Don't want to do too much on the clothes and stuff. But I should probably do more of the head to the collarbone. So I'll probably do another drawing showing that to really like show how connected it is. And it don't really have a good gray tone. Hopefully this works. Alright. I won't be able to do two tones, but don't want to take up too much time. Alright, so now when I'm shading, I'm basically just trying to exaggerate the character a bit. So taking a lot of his sharp features and kind of making them a little bit sharper. So keeping that jaw sharp and cast shadow from the ear and cast shadow from the under the jaw here. All right, so that's pretty much the face for that. And I probably won't color him since I have the other character next to him, so don't want to waste too much time coloring him. Alright, I guess I'll talk about 3/4 since that's probably the last one. Alright, and then 3/4 I do for most of my characters. I don't know why, I'm just kind of like used to it more so than the other ones. I kind of never liked doing frontals. Like for a while I was really bad at doing frontals, more so than 3/4, and sides I didn't even know how to do. But just recently started messing around with them. This is probably the best side view that I've actually done. But yeah, so 3/4. Basically, the only thing that's different about the 3/4 is I kind of have like a side priority, I guess, where this side I will sometimes simplify or get a very sharp angle. And it's kind of up to you how drastic you want to do a 3/4. This one leans a lot more towards the frontal, and I'll kind of change that a bit as I go by having the ear. So this is kind of what I said by picking a side to kind of dominate. So we have this backside, a little more simplified, and then by focusing on this side, we place the ear here, and then I can start to basically shift the face towards this area back here. Hopefully I'm not tilting too much. And then pull off the nose and the jaw, kicking back to the ear. And then I can kind of show the hair part in a bit, and you can also get some reflections near where the top is. And then coming off the head, we got the neck. And from the neck, traps. And the collarbone, showing a little bit. And then once you kind of get a hang of it, you can just kind of flow a lot of the other parts together for the anatomy. And yeah, just kind of go from there. And you can go as far as you want. But yeah, you definitely don't need to just make every character without clothes just to practice anatomy. Like I kind of talked about in the arms video, you can practice like if you really like armor or clothes, a lot of practice in the clothes actually will help you with anatomy as well, since basically the clothes are going over top of anatomy, and a lot of clothes are designed for anatomy. So a lot of the same things, a lot of the same proportions, all of that will still be the same. So you don't have to feel bad if you're not drawing a bunch of muscles or like really practicing anatomy in that way. You can kind of just do whatever you want, and like if it comes up and you end up in a situation where you're like you want to draw a muscular dude or that sort of thing or whatever, then you can just start practicing anatomy then. Like it can be a very natural do when you feel like sort of thing. I really think that's probably the most efficient way to go about it. All right, so a little bit of 3/4, and I can start to tilt and change the character around. And this is usually how I go about practicing a lot of things. I would do like the full characters if I had enough time. But yeah, really keeping the eyes on that front plane will help a lot for changing angles as well. And if you're doing males, the brow ridge can really help. And I use a lot of the wrinkles and different parts of the structure to kind of figure out like where the features will sort of flow to or go. And then this one is a little more top down and more so since we see the top of his head. And also for males, you can do the Adam's apple And yeah, usually whenever I guess I sort of have like the atom sample here. Usually when I'm doing characters though, I'll have a cast shadow under his neck. So a lot of times you won't even see it. And then, yeah, I really recommend trying to do the neck and the rest of the character. However, you decide to do it, you can do it with clothes. It'll still be the same thing. You'll still have the traps in the shoulders, like kind of defining themselves through the clothes anyway. So it really won't change much. Yeah, you can put clothes. You can decide to show as much anatomy as you want to or want to mess around with. It's really up to you, and you can really go at your own pace too. All right, so that's some faces. A lot of people are probably gonna ask for uh, from underneath, so I will do my best, but I usually don't mess with this angle much. Well, I have a few times actually. I don't really like it as much. I know it's a more difficult one to do. But I don't like it as much since you can't really see much of the face. So it kind of sucks for doing characters and showing a lot of the character. Right. And then I'll do a bit of tone under the jaw. Since, like I said, a lot of the cast shadow will be really strong under the jaw and under the brows. Yeah, not the greatest at at anything really, but doing the underneath shot can be a little bit difficult. And also it's a very niche pose. Usually when I'm doing something like that, it'll be a character that is being knocked into the air or a character that is sitting upside down. But even then, usually I like to just draw the character like in backwards. backwards and back here. So really it's a lot of preference what you want to do for angles, and it's kind of like whatever you like for situations more than other ones. So like if I was to do a character, I would prefer to do this pose, where someone else might like to do the underneath more. And it's kind of like almost like a director for how they decide to basically shoot certain scenes. So for me, I would do scenes a little bit that don't have that angle. Yeah. Personally, I just don't like it as much, since you don't see much of the face, as even something like a little bit opposite extreme shows a little bit of the more of the face. So it's not something I'm used to really. But yeah, it's definitely a thing you could kind of mess around with if you're wanting to do it. I know a lot of people in my chat on stream always want like the hand going all the way to the camera, or this sort of upshot as well. The ears would be more downward. Yeah, especially practicing the faces. If you can just kind of draw a bunch of characters from different angles. Like right now, I'm like literally practicing these different angles, like as I'm showing you guys. So this is kind of how I'd go about practicing, but I would do a lot more like finished characters, like a lot of the pages behind me, and go a lot more in detail and sort of like finish them out and see them through. I don't really like doing too much unfinished drawings, but like everything else is sort of just personal preference. But yeah, the main things for the upshot would just be the nose. It's gonna poke out. You're gonna see mostly under the neck more, a lot of the jaw, and then the neck will be a little bit sharper, and you won't see much of the forehead and the hairs much. And yeah, like a lot of the extreme poses, you will see a lot less than a lot of the other ones. So whenever you're changing angles, I kind of like to think about like what sort of is the trade-off, because even like a frontal pose, we see a lot of the face, but we're also missing a lot of the face. So we're missing the back of the head, we're missing the ears, really, like they don't show that much besides the front of the ear, which is very narrow in space. And then like the side pose, what are we kind of like sacrificing to get this side pose? So it'd be like a lot of the other half of the face, and like So when you're kind of choosing like what sort of angle and things that you want to do your faces in, you could kind of like think about sort of what would like if you're trying to show a lot of features on your character, then maybe a 3/4 angle that is semi frontal might be best. Or if you really want to do like your character staring off, maybe a side angle would be best. Or if you want to do more of a dramatic scene where your character is like someone is looking up at them, then you could do like a lot of the rest of the body. And if I was going to do more of this underneath shot, then I would definitely like bring the character out more, since unless it's a portrait underneath, you're going to have a lot of this like under part showing, so the feet will be like much larger than the character, and you'll have almost like a shrinking effect from the that sort of tapers off, sort of like a pyramid. So yeah, that's kind of some more faces, just kind of from different angles. So yeah, not much more I can think of right now for doing faces. Maybe I'll do a quick time lapse of finishing off these ones and adding some shadows and color. So yeah, catch you guys in like probably 2 seconds for you guys. All right, so that's gonna do it. So it's probably like 5 seconds for you guys for the time lapse, but yeah. So this is how it turned out. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something, or yeah, hope the video helped in some way. But yeah, this is I'll probably do one last video on faces, and it'll probably be female faces. So yeah, I didn't really get to show too much. Just have like two girl characters that could be girls, and yeah, but I'll definitely have to talk more about it in this one. And yeah, so see you guys there.